Back to school to prove that I am not a fool.
Hey everybody, welcome to So Many Sequels. I'm your book club I'm not your book club for movies. This is your book club for movies, and I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
Welcome
We're all just
to
chapters in this book, apparently.
I know.
It's time to open the schools.
Open schools. Welcome to the show. Welcome to So Many Sequels. Like I said, we're talking about school this month, which is not everyone's favorite topic, I don't think, but it's some people's favorite topic.
There are many topics within a school as well.
There are. We're going to talk about back to school movies. I'm saying this month, not fully knowing what that means, being that it's mid-August, but that's okay.
Just it doesn't necessarily have to be a month either. It's just the theme of the time, you know?
No.
We went to camp over summer, and so we thought we may as well go back to school in August because that's when most of them start.
At least in Oklahoma.
Sense. You know, a lot of schools start after Labor Day,
and that makes sense. June or so.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but like August is so hot, and they trying to cool off the building in August. That's not smart. Do it in September.
Now, see, I was under the impression that we were closing all schools. Are we not shutting down the Department of Education?
Yeah, we are. We are. They're fully gone. Yeah.
Well, I think we'll just have like a pay to enter fee. I think that's more.
There you go. It's all about going into the transfer portal.
Yeah, they call that a cover charge.
So talking about back to school, how do you guys get excited about this time of year? I will say I've been out of public school for a long time, and that's what I always equate to back to school time is like going back to high school and picking up your supply list and all that. To this day, I don't like it. When like you go to Walmart or whatever and the back to school signs are up and I get like feelings of, oh no, I have to go back to school too. And I remember I don't. You guys still have that, or do you love school?
A lot of post-traumatic school disorder.
I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, David, your wife is a teacher, so I mean, it is something that you have dealt with for quite a while, and you just mentioned that you've got somebody else about to start school, so you're really feeling the back to school.
It's true. Nikki has been a teacher now for 14 years, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I've been doing the summer. She's had summer breaks, which is very nice, but then, she has her back to school season. She gets ready. Well, now our son is starting pre-K, which, isn't going to be like full bore school necessarily, but, he's got his school supplies. They're going to learn about different things. Luckily, I feel like we had him in a good daycare that kind of prepped him for that to begin with. So he's not going to I don't think he's going to have a hard time socializing. He makes friends very quickly.
He's a very sociable boy.
He is. He did. He did the pre-show with us, which we don't record the pre-show, but maybe we will in the future for a bonus. I don't know if we ever, if the fans demand it. But anyhow, he's kind of excited. He was mostly mad. We went the other night for the meet the teacher, and he didn't get to play with enough of the stuff in the room, so he kind of decided he did not care for it. Anyhow, I always liked the start of school, but it did not take long for me to be like, man, I wish I wasn't in school anymore. So
yeah.
So, but I do think that as a genre of film, there's a lot to explore here.
Yeah. What about you, Garrett?
Yeah. So my wife is a teacher now, so this is her back to school season. I was back in the classroom recently because we helped set up her classroom. So we were out there hanging up stuff, and let me tell you what, David, I'm sure you can agree, no matter whether you're a student, no matter whether you're a teacher, the back to school nerves, they don't go away. Everyone is nervous to go back to school because the kids are nervous. They're not excited about it. The teachers are nervous because they have a whole new crop of kids for the most part, the brand new class. So they're having to restart everything. So the nerves don't go away no matter where you're at. And she's teaching high school students, and so they're still nervous. And so it's really, it's a bonding thing if you let it be. Don't let the nerves win, because there's a lot of angst going back to school anyway. And a lot of those movies that David mentioned, they got some angst in them. I mean, we've got a list of back to school movies. You know, we've got one for sure, but we're still trying to decide. So we would like you to tell us what some of your favorites are. But I mean, on here, we're starting off with like, I see Billy Madison, Super Bad, 10 Things I Hate About You. I mean, like, what are some of your guys' favorite back to school movies?
Well, I'll go ahead and say just to tell everyone that this is what we're going to do for our first one. Is School of Rock is the one that I think that when it was thrown out for us, we all agreed that we wanted to do that. I was like, I don't care. I don't know if I want it to be my pick, but I need to do School of Rock. So that was top of my list. And then I'm also thinking of movies like Ferris Bueller and The Breakfast Club, some of those great high school movies from the 80s.
Oh, yeah. John Hughes classics. I mean, he was definitely the back to school guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Breakfast Club. I mean, that's one of the all-timers, I think. You think about school movies, because even though that one doesn't actually have any class in it or anything, it just sums up that the school experience. But, you know, there's others like, you know, there's a lot of like, I guess subgenres even within that type. You kind of have sports, high school sports movies and things even like, you know, Bring It On and, you know, Friday Night Lights, and even something that has a little bit more sports heavy genre like, or sports heavy elements like Remember the Titans. You know, that's in some ways a school movie and a conversation about school. Dead Poets Society, a school about a teacher trying to, you know, fix the class, stand and deliver. These types of movies, you know, trying to help the next generation. So there, and then you have more that are like the comedy stuff. You mentioned Super Bad, Billy Madison. I noticed, Garrett, was this on the list? The House Bunny, was that on the list that you had looked up?
No,
or is that a
no,
Garrett
that
insert?
That may have been one that I put in there because, listen, sorority, Greek life is a huge part of back to school life. If you're for incoming college freshmen, you know, I have a cousin who is essentially just rushed. She picked her school the other day. So it's still a fun thing. And listen, there's a wide span of raunchy ones too. And I would say The House Bunny is a self-aware, raunchy, stupid one with a great cast. Don't hate on The House Bunny.
But then you also have, no hate. I just knew that was a Garrett add-on. I can tell.
Then you also have things though like old school Animal House, the original one that was, you know, for me, I remember watching Animal House when I probably shouldn't have. I had a PSP in high school, and you could get the downloadable, like the little movies.
You were watching Animal House on a PSP?
Yes.
Bring back physical media, baby.
Listen, I was in the back of the class, just with my headphones on, finished my final on the last day of school back there watching Animal House. It was excellent.
Don't experience good things anymore.
You
know, there's some good stories about physical media. Listen next week because I got a good one about the School of Rock soundtrack.
Oh, man. Yeah. Stay tuned for that.
There should be a subgenre too of like movies we watched on a PSP for the first, like, because like for me, that's like the Adam Sandler remake of The Longest Yard. Like I watched that via PSP.
That was a good one.
My friend's PSP.
I never had access to a PSP, so I never watched movies on one. I will say I was talking to someone the other day, and we can move on, about how I do have a subgenre in my head of movies I've watched on an airplane. Because it's one of the few places to watch a movie where you are like actually kind of trapped with it. Like, movie theater, you can still get up and leave, but you're pretty much on that plane. You might as well watch the movie.
And you're kind of like, you have to like listen really intently. And like hope that somebody's not going to tap your shoulder for a drink or something.
Exactly. Or that some scene with like nudity doesn't pop up and there's like kids sitting like across from you.
You're watching.
That's happened before. You're like, this is a rated R scene.
That was me. That was me watching No Country for Old Men. People next to me, they did Javier Bardem's choking some guy out, and
you're just casually watching. Yeah,
trying to hide.
Well, what I'm.
So we don't know what we're gonna pick yet.
We don't know what we're gonna pick yet for the rest of the month, but stick around for later in the week. We are going to be talking about School of Rock, so that'll be fun. That is available to stream on Peacock right now. If you want to watch it with us, do that. But let's talk about some of the news going on in movie world this week. You know, we talked about the House Bunny earlier, which has Anna Faris.
Does.
She is returning to another franchise. I don't know that House Bunny's a franchise, but something else
Should
that
be.
became iconic for
Could
her,
have been.
which is the Scary Movie universe is being rebooted. And Anna Faris has joined the cast along with Regina Hall. They're coming back with the Wayans brothers to do Scary Movie. I think I don't know how like optimistic I want to be, but I do think the time is right for Scary Movie to come back. What do you guys think? Horror has changed a lot.
It has.
Yeah, it's got like a genre that is like revived, and honestly, they take it seriously as a genre now, and it's not just kind of silly and cheesy and jump scary. So there's something, and then we had The Naked Gun just come out, so there's a level of like spoofery that people are
Yeah.
seeming to want. There's a level of laughter that I think people need. So I think that it can be good. My
Yeah.
concern is how bad the other ones were. So,
Right.
it can really go either way.
Right.
David, what about
It's
you?
I think it's really gonna come down to the writing and the comedy in general. Like, yeah, horror over the last 5 years, even maybe the last 10 years, but has become kind of this new thing. It's become this ground for sort of a lot of innovative, auteur-driven stuff. A24 has been a big part of that with kind of giving directors a shot at doing things. We've had guys like, even there were just recently Zach Cregger's, Jordan Peele, Ari Aster, right? Who's the guy who did Midsommar? Is that Ari Aster?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Dang.
it.
Then
But
who's
yeah,
the other guy?
there's a
Anyhow.
whole new subgenre of A24
So-
horror.
Are they
Basically.
gonna be capable of adequately adjusting Scary Movie to like that form? Because the Scary Movie franchise really thrived early on riffing on Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer and that sort of teen sexy slasher genre. Scary Movie 5, that came out not that long ago. And they mostly went after like, I think they did Scary Movie 5 and they did like a haunted house or something like that, which was kind of like an unofficial scary movie where it's like a lot of parodying of like the Conjuring stuff and paranormal activity and found footage stuff. That didn't do well. So if they can market this right and they can write it correctly, they might be able to win a whole bunch of people over because there's interest in sort of poking fun at the genre as it is today. But I don't know. Getting Anna Faris and
Regina Hall. is her
Regina
name.
Hall. Getting them back, I think, does help a lot. You got the Wayans back. I don't know. I don't want to be pessimistic, but I am.
I think there's an opportunity there because one of the other things that horror is doing is bringing, a lot of race trauma into it. And so having those two together, I think that they can really use that. The Wayans brothers, they're used to In Living Color, and so they're not afraid to write racial kind of comedy. So I think there's an opportunity there. And then one of the critiques that I usually have whenever we watch a horror movie is the scare build up. Each scare has to be worth the payoff to the next one, right? And one of the things that current horror movies do is they build and 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 they build, and then you get like one maybe actual scare, but a lot of it is just tension that doesn't quite pay off. And so I feel like their comedic style can be like surrounded by weird things, but nothing really happens. And they're just like, what is happening? And whatever. And then it just stops and they're like, man, that was weird. And then they just move on. And I think
So-
that could be a running gag that they could do sometimes.
Let me ask you guys this too. Okay, so Scary Movie 5 actually came out longer ago than I thought. It came out in 2013, which was about 7 years after Scary Movie 4. So I want to ask you first of all, when you think back to the Scary Movie franchise, is there like a clear like peak of that for you? Like, do you like, oh, I love Scary Movie 1, and then
Yeah, it
like you
peaked
don't
at
love it?
1. Yeah. No, it did.
Okay.
In my world, I'm like, yeah, it was really good when it came out, and then
What about you, Garrett?
You know, to be honest with you, I didn't really get into the franchise
Mm-hmm.
because when I was younger, I didn't like horror movies. And so I was really unfamiliar with a lot of those movies, and I didn't think that the humor would land with me. So I think I've seen the first one for sure. But after that, I can't remember anything.
So, for me, it peaked with Scary Movie 3. Scary Movie 1 was very funny. Scary Movie
Is that the
2
one
was
where they
also
have the fight?
that's one that like largely okay. So that's the thing about the Scary Movie franchise is that as they got further in, they became less strictly horror parodies and parodies of just
Yeah.
all of cinema at the time. Scary Movie 3 has a lot of largely a parody of Signs mixed with a couple other movies in there. Like they parody 8 Mile midway through the movie for not really much of any reason other than 8 Mile was popular.
Yeah.
And there's just a bunch of stuff in there. You know, Scary Movie 4 is largely a parody of The Ring and War of the Worlds, the Tom Cruise War of the Worlds movie. Like, Scary Movie 5, I'm looking at it, is mostly a parody of Paranormal Activity, Black Swan, Mama, and Rise of the Planet of the Apes. So, and then they have references to Sinister, Inception, Ted, Insidious. Like, there's just references, like, galore. So, like, are they, you know, like, and a lot of people, like, Scary Movie 4 was it kind of, like, did not do well at all? Like, I don't know. So, like, I'm not sure if like people just have a lot of nostalgia for that very first one. Like, what are they going for? Like,
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see how they can, if they can pull it off at this point in time.
Yeah.
yeah. But it is not the only thing coming back from the past. There's been a lot of reboots and retooling and whatever you want to call it of old franchises.
Cyclical. What's
Cyclical.
old is new is young again, you know?
Exactly. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. You know, I feels like it is more than 5. I don't know, maybe 5 or so years ago, there was this real strong push for rebooting old TV shows.
Yeah.
You got when like Roseanne came back, and they even did like Murphy Brown. Remember they did a season of Murphy Brown, and Frasier came back, and Will and Grace came. Like all these shows came back, and none of them really stuck around. You know, the only one I think that really was successful was the Roseanne spinoff when it became the Connors. It lasted like just ended actually. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a new round of that has come about in King of the Hill, which we've talked about a ton on this show. We had basically a whole episode devoted to King of the Hill the other day. But enough time has passed now to where they have enough data to show that, like, okay, the premiere of this new season was a pretty big hit for Disney Plus and Hulu. They said 4.4 million viewers, I think, which set a 5-year record for the streaming service, which is about as old as it is.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people call out that they feel that King of the Hill, this season anyway, the way they've written and everything, is like deeply relevant to the culture today. And I'm pleasantly surprised, but I'm surprised that King of the Hill is something that people are like tuning into today.
One of the things that King of the Hill has always done is it looks at people first, right? Like you've got Dale, who's like compared to everyone else, absolutely, you know, clearly for entertainment only, as we said in the most recent episode. But even Hank, you know, as Southern as he is, as valued as he is, as stubborn as he is, they use him in a way to make other people human, and it makes sense the way they do it. I think off mic, Josh mentioned it feeling like a modern day version of All in the Family, and I think that's the way it's approached. You know, you have a bumbling kind of fool, crazy weird things around him, but you know he makes it work, and he looks at people as people first. And that's really what matters. And that is what we all that's what we all say we want, but we don't act like it. And Hank acts like it. And so I think it's connectable.
Yeah. And Disney said that it has shown an obvious increase of interest in the show's original run. It's increased viewership there has increased 41% since the spring when the revival series was officially announced. The series has accrued over 1 billion hours viewed overall for Disney Plus.
And I'm not terribly surprised because it is a lot of the same people. The creative team is back. You got Mike Judge, you got Greg Daniels, you've got a lot of the writers from the original show. They still know these characters. And the benefit you have with an animated series like this is that when you bring back Frasier looks 20 years older. So it does not feel like the same show. And while they aged up the characters from
they look older in here.
While they have drawn them to look a little older, they do not feel progressively different. If this was if they did say 3D animation, right? Like they're all bulbous and round and stuff, it would not feel like the same show. It would not feel like, it would feel like this is a different version of King of the Hill. But the show feels like it just fits. It feels like it just took a break. And the people who make it have the same mentality. They got a great handle on these characters. And honestly, the first run of King of the Hill had such great lines and great comedy, and it feels so understated. It a lot of people compare over the last few years, Josh, we've had this discussion. Bob's Burgers was kind of like the unofficial successor to King of the Hill for being kind of a fairly unfantastic, down to earth. The characters are very silly, but they don't, they're not having celebrities on the show every week or some crazy, it's not like a big fantasy show like Family Guy or Futurama or The Simpsons or something like that. It's a little more down to earth, and you get that back with King of the Hill. Hank reminds a lot of people of themselves or of their dad or their uncle, their grandparents or anything like that. It's just a very relatable show.
It is. I just find it so surprising because on that note, King of the Hill always in my head lived in the shadow of The Simpsons and Family Guy, just like Bob's Burgers does now. I really felt growing up, I was like, man, do other people watch King of the Hill? It felt like no as a kid.
Well, I was just
not
thinking,
cool show.
Do you remember when it got canceled? I believe I could be misremembering, but my memory tells me that it was canceled, and the show that replaced it was the Cleveland show.
I believe that triggers something in me. Yeah.
And listen, I understand how popular Family Guy was at that time and its resurgence, but the Cleveland show was not as good as King of the Hill, and so I think people were really upset when it got canceled. But I do think in the long run, the success that it's showing now, maybe a break was good for it. You look at The Simpsons, and The Simpsons is pretty consistent as a show, but now you wonder, is anybody watching The Simpsons? And I think them not having aged in 50 years, however long it's been on TV now, I think it should. I think it should move forward, and that would be a way to kind of revive some of The Simpsons.
It's true, because I've seen there's some writing out there that the past couple seasons of The Simpsons, they've also been, many are saying, quietly enjoying a renaissance of their own, but people aren't watching it to know.
I love to hear that.
I will send you some links, because I swear I've seen some stuff like that.
I'm a Simpsons fan, but I haven't watched it in forever.
I will say what I think succeeds. There's another show we're going to talk about, and there are two ways that you can, when you've been as long running as The Simpsons, when you've been as long running as Family Guy and things like this, those shows succeed a lot because of how topical they are. They can be really referential of what's going on, and topical can be challenging because it dates your show almost immediately. It doesn't makes for some rewatches kind of difficult. But King of the Hill manages to not be topical, but somehow does manage to be relevant. And I really applaud how they're able to take sort of the conversations we're having and make them feel integrated into the show in a not forced, like a ham-fisted way. some of the same concepts and topics that they've talked about in this new season would be so, I feel like, ham-fisted on other shows.
You have to look at it again. Some shows are just
Is ham-fisted
good at that. It's like, look at Norman Lear again, All in the Family. If you go back and watch an All in the Family show, it feels like it could be modernized without any kind of any issue. Like it is easily carried over from that time frame to now.
And I think a lot of shows
King
have
of the Hill
tried.
is too, because it just looks. It doesn't look at topical. It looks at life, and life is connectable.
Yeah.
Now, you want to talk about topical to the nth degree? We have the other show that's doing well.
Right, yeah. So South Park has never gone away, really. They've had like periods of time where there have been like a span of a couple years between seasons, I think, just with the way that they operate now.
They own Comedy Central. They could do whatever they want.
They essentially do in a way. But South Park has never been off the air for like official canceled reason. But it is back to being more relevant now than perhaps ever before, and not just because of the way that South Park is always extremely topical with what's going on in American culture specifically, but because people are tuning in. That's the key thing there. South Park's 27th season premiere was its highest rated episode in 25 years, which is more than half of our lives.
Yeah, it has been on since 97. I remember when it was too taboo for me to watch as a kid. I remember finally sneaking episodes to watch when I was like, I don't know, 17 or something. And this South Park has always sort of stuck it to the man, if you will. It's always like pushed against like what's too much to talk about. But never before has the man cared so much about it. You know what I mean? So like now they have this situation where they are mocking the establishment, mocking the people who are in charge, and they actually are irritating the people in charge. There was several years where South Park was funny and it was making fun of the people who kind of had the most power, but like, you know, everybody was like, it's South Park, that's what they do, and they moved on. Now, like, I don't know, it's funny because they're actually irritating people that have thin skin and aren't able to take the jokes.
Well, and they're not, I think they are making jokes, but I also think in this case, they are just, everybody is so afraid to say who they're talking about. In this one, they were like, nah, we're going to put it front and center, and we're going to just absolutely lambast it. And it was hilarious.
Did you guys watch episode 2?
I have not watched episode 2
I've seen parts of episode 2, but I have not been able to watch the full thing.
Yeah, it's not just him.
No,
They'll go after the whole line of them.
Yeah.
Here's my question, Josh.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but I watched the first one, and there was a character in there that they also referenced who made me think that they were making fun of our dickbag of a superintendent and Ryan Walters. And I don't know if that was who they were making fun of, but if they haven't yet, they should, because that would also be well-deserved.
Yeah,
So if they're looking for people that they want to just really rip apart, it could be that one. So
the PC principal character has been around for a very long time, and he has always looked like that. So that is just life imitating
coincidence
art more than anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
If anything, you should ask the state superintendent why he chooses to look like PC principal, because he did come first.
I think it's purposeful.
It may be. It may
don't
be.
know.
Although
I think
he is the
I think it's a
perfect
life
character
choice.
to tie into that. If they
I
want
don't know
to.
when PC Principal debuted, but it would have been around 2013 to 2015, somewhere in that range.
Dang.
You know, and he was a commentary on sort of, it's funny because like at the time PC Principal was a commentary on the wokeness of, you know, the early Obama years. Not really wokeness back then, that's not what it was called, but the sort of pushback of PC culture and sort of the way in which some people felt that PC culture was a form of its own bullying, of kind of you're still singling people out while trying not to single people out. And it was, you know, it was a funny satire back then. Now it's, you know, PC Principal has to adjust to this whole new world where things are just rattling his brain. It's different now for him. So yeah, I mean, I have not got to really watch these episodes myself, but I was a big South Park kid for many years, for like a span of 5-6 years at one point. I think we all, I don't know if we all do, but many of us have gone through that cycle. But yeah,
Yeah, there was a period of like a month in David and I's personal lives where we were writing a play together and we watched South Park in the background while we Skype wrote a play.
Oof.
and it was fun stuff.
And it was fun stuff.
Those are words.
So those are words, yeah. South Park.
Well, you know, and it's, but also there's the meta aspect of this where they're really sticking it to Paramount Plus and Paramount in general. And
I
all
can't even
that.
talk about them right now.
Like, they're getting paid to basically belittle the station that is paying them, which is weird.
Listen, they're the only reason that
I've never seen a company
still haven't-
say, "Oh no, I lost $1," and then burn 6,000.
Yeah.
I'm so mad
6,000?
at that damn. I'm using lower terms.
Oh.
To say, okay, here's what I'm saying. They canceled The Late Show because they claimed it lost $40 million a year, but then they spent $1 billion on South Park and $7 billion on UFC. The
Damn.
math don't make sense. You guys lied. Ludicrous.
Sign up for PBS Plus and cancel that Paramount account as soon as this season
put
of South
Colbert
Park
on
is done.
PBS.
For as long as we have PBS.
Yeah. Well, that's why you sign
Maybe
up
we
for their
can leave
streaming
that.
service, because you help them.
True. Viewers like you. Well, that I think is gonna do it for this episode. So, David, do you want to hit us with the weekend box office recap to wrap up?
Yeah. Let's go through this just real quick. So the number one movie of the weekend is Weapons for the second weekend. We're bringing in $25 million, about a 48% drop if that estimate ends up holding out. Freakier
that's
Friday,
pretty good.
It's very good for this movie.
Weapons is doing very well. It had like a debut of over 40 million last week. Warner Brothers has had a really good year despite all of the guff we've given them. This is kind of like Disney's 2024, where Disney had like a terrible 2023, and we're all like, Disney, what are you doing? You're bad. And then they had like a massive 2024. Well, Warner Brothers had a series of bad years, and now they're off to between this, Sinners, the Minecraft movie, and then Superman, like they've had a really solid year. Freakier Friday comes in at number 2 with 14.5 million after a pretty decent weekend one as well. Nobody 2, I believe this is its debut. It comes out to 9.2 million.
Yeah, we got a review from former host Andrew, who said it was fine.
He said this one was a little bland. So,
Yep, good action movie.
Hey, you know what? I'm sure it'll do well. That's what back. I mean, I don't know. I hate to say this kind of thing because I don't really care for these terms, but back in the day, that would have been like a great movie to watch on TNT or something. It would have been like a good on TV movie. Fantastic Four: First Steps rounds out at number 4 with 8.8 million, and then The Bad Guys 2 slips down to number 5 with $7.5 million. Overall, it's been kind of an okay year, slightly better than we were last year by this point, but it'll be interesting to see how the holiday season finishes out 2024 for us.
All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks for watching this episode of So Many Sequels. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. You can find us on YouTube and on Spotify or wherever you get podcasts. If you want to get more involved, go to SoManySequels.com. We've got links to all of our past episodes there, links to our social channels. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And stay tuned for later in the week. We will be dropping our review of School of Rock and some more back-to-school movies. It's going to be fun. Bye.